What is up, everyone? Let's walk through how to create a Builder.io custom component from Figma. We're going to set up an AutoHTML Figma plugin, set up that generated AutoHTML code in our front-end repo using the Qwik front-end framework. We'll walk through that. We'll register the Builder.io custom component with inputs. We'll add custom component logic if needed. This example does not, so we'll come back to that. Then we'll tinker with the custom component in the Builder.io visual editor to work as expected. We'll remove the with style from text that isn't here in this example. We'll fix the font family styles and we'll convert the colors to HSL and HSLA and enable the variable hue theming system. The example we're going to walk through is cart summary custom component. Let's walk through it. Here we go. All right, so we're in the Figma file. We're going to turn off dev mode because the first step was to install the plugin. You're going to search for AutoHTML. And you'll see I already have it installed, so I'll show you what it looks like when you install a new one. You'll press run, and then you can even favorite it, and then when we go back to dev mode, it'll appear right here. So that's what we're going to open up. We're going to click the component that we're trying out, which is the cart summary section. We're going to copy the HTML, just like that. It's that simple. It is that simple. Actually, before we copy that, we need the, we're going to paste that right here. I'm going to quickly walk through what this means. So this is a Qwik component. We're importing the component function and the useStyleScope function. The styles is the CSS that we're going to get from style CSS file here. And we're going to paste it in the style constant, and it's going to be called in the useStyleScope function that we're getting from the Builder Qwik SDK. And that just makes it so the styles are just inside this component specifically. Here's the component, by the way. It's a function, and it accepts it's a function that accepts a function. Within the function is the props argument, and it's of type cart summary props. We're in TypeScript right now, so set up an interface called cart summary props, and we're going to return fragment. And Qwik, that's what fragments look like. And here's the import blocks from the Builder.io SDK. We'll use this in another example, not in this example. So I'm going to copy the starter template, paste that in here. What is up, you guys? I hope you're enjoying the video. If you're looking to level up your tech stack, enabling Builder.io with Qwik, or making your Figma components drag and drop into any tech stack, or even your design to development workflow, your design to code workflow, you're looking to break into tech, transform your tech team into a growth team, become data-driven, data-guided, whatever you need, do me a favor, go into the description, find my Instagram, send me a DM, I'll take care of you. Let's get back to the video. And then I'm gonna go, let's talk about the custom component registration starter objects. This is a JSON that's going to go straight in the builder registry.ts file. The thing that matters here is the name and the component that you're importing. Everything else will leave, like no wrap and can have children. Okay, so I'm going to save this so it's available for import. I'll go to the builder registry, and inside of the register components array of this custom components constant, I will paste that object, okay? It's going to be red because it needs to be imported. Let's use autocomplete to do that for us. We'll save it. I'm going to go to the Builder Visual Editor, and now actually what we should see is the cart summary. It's actually loading. I just want to make sure that it's done. There we go. It flashed. I'm going to grab the cart summary, and I'm just going to place it where I want to place it, which is right there, and nothing's there. And that makes total sense because there's nothing in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to Figma, the AutoHTML plugin. We're going to copy all of that HTML. We're going to go back to VS Code and paste it right in the fragment there. Then we're going to go to the CSS. We're going to ignore these first two, and we're going to go straight for these ones, okay? And then we're going to go to the style constant at the bottom, paste that. I'm going to Control A and format everything, and then save the file. And now what we're going to see in the Builder Editor is all of a sudden the cart summary is going to appear, and there it is. So there's a couple things that we're going to fix. Next step is to register it with inputs. Okay, let's do that first. So to register it with inputs, there's a couple things that we want to do. We want to, for example, this is the summary of cart. We're going to do props.summary cart label, because that's what this is, and it'll enable the editor to change it. So we'll call that, we'll update the interface, and that is a string, okay? And now it's not complaining, but it's actually not going to appear in the builder registry until we add it as an input. So I'll set up the object. Each one should have a name. We're going to call it the summary cart label. The type is a string, and I'll show you where these types come from actually. It's in the resources here, the custom components inputs, and if I open that, these are all the types, so you can control F and see all the different types and all the different options that you have to set up the configuration. We won't walk through all of that in detail here. The default value, we'll set it to summary of cart because that's what was in the design. We'll save the registry. We'll save this. And now if we go to builder, summary of cart should disappear. If I were to delete this, you can see the spinner is still going. If I were to delete this and drag in and drop it back in, it would just say summary of cart, but as we can see, the summary of cart label is not here. There we go. So that should be dynamic, but I think it's because I didn't drag and drop it in. As you can see, there it is. So if I delete this, it should, there we go. You see, it's actually dynamic, which is really, really cool. What did we do? We registered it with custom inputs. Are there any other inputs? We're going to do that for the rest of this file. Okay, but before I get into that, add custom component logic if needed. There is none here in this example. Next, we'll need to tinker with it. So the one thing I want to tinker right away is the SVG. Didn't exactly turn out right. As you can see from here, it's a bit weird. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Figma. We're going to click that exact asset. We're going to get out of AutoHTML. Just to make sure when you're here, when you're in Figma, you want to make sure you're doing a couple of things. The selection colors are HSL. Now we're doing that because HSL is our theming system, which is how it works. And then if I click this, you want to make sure it's in rem. So those are the main things you want to set up. So now if I click the SVG here, it will appear, the code that we're looking for is right here. I will copy that. I'll go to VS Code. You can see that the class is banner tip. So I'm going to paste this here, do some tabs to fix this. Let's grab the class, bring it in there. And then delete all the SVGs. There's another thing we want to do with SVGs in general, actually, with our color system. So we're going to change it to current color. Anything with fill, we're going to change to current color. I'm going to cut this one out because I'll show you we actually need to put this value somewhere. Current color. And then now if we go to banner tip, what we want to do is add a color CSS property and put that right there. So now if I save, what should happen, now that the SVG can change colors, it's still spinning, it should look like the exact same thing. Okay, we can see it's a bit different. It's getting closer. And what we can do to fix this is just edit the rem just to be a little bit bigger. Usually that's all it takes. There we go. Look at that. Great. Use Figma inspect to get the SVG code instead of if autoHTML SVG code doesn't work as well. Remove width from text styles is not here. We're going to fix the font family styles. I'll show you what that looks like. So if we control F font family, we'll see here DM sans regular. I'll show you what it's actually supposed to look like. So if we go to any font here like you saved, you'll see it says DM sans, capital D, capital M, space, capital S, and that's actually not what's here. It's just a part of AutoHTML. It's an issue we're figuring out. So you would just get rid of that and get rid of that. And that's exactly what we would do to fix the font families. I'll save that. Converting HSL. Okay, so we'll open up this. We'll paste some colors in. That's really all we're going to do. So if I go to here, this color, for example, copy it, go here, paste it, and we get the HSL color, which is that, and we'll replace it. There we go. Here's another example. So if I were to grab RGBA, copy that, paste that, and this is the HSL value for that. Same thing here. HSLA, look at that. Just like that. Save that. Okay, and so we looked at the font families, converting the colors. You could just search for the hashtag or for RGBA. And it looks like I replaced everything. You'll want to work through that. Let's go here. So we fix the font families, convert the colors, and then the last thing to enable it for the hue system, if now once you replace everything, we do HSL. For the first number, we're not going to touch zeros. Every other number between like 160, doesn't matter if it's 164, 160, either way, we're going to just do var dash dash hue slider, dash dash hue dash slider. And we're going to do that for all the first numbers of HSL and HSLA. Okay? And we've walked through all of that, and let me just do that for all the files. Alright, so I updated all the custom inputs here. I'm going to save the registry. I updated all of the cart summaries using the props here, replacing all the inner HTML with the values, updating the current fill color for SVGs like we walked through, going to the Figma inspect, changing all the colors to HSL, then changing the variable, doing any tweaks to the font family, and then the SVG width was a particular tweak that we needed to do. So I'm going to save that. And now, so everything's gone here just because it's not going to get all the default values when I was using an old custom component. So I'm going to go here, go to the cart summary. There we go. This is just one spot I'll put it in. Next, you'll want to go here, you'll go to the bottom, My Templates, and you'll drag in Hue Control to the top of the file. And you see what it does here is it sets the value by default, and just for the functionality of this, we'll change this when we go through each page during QA. We'll update this to be the actual value of the user style. And now we can see whenever we refresh it, the SVG changes color, and all the other colors change to the theme. Let's look at the last step here. If you remember in the builder-registry TS, we added no wrap. Just to make sure all the functionality works in the editor, what we're going to do is we're going to add a spread operator for props and add attributes. And we're going to make sure we add attributes to the TypeScript interface of type any. And that's it. All right, so we just walked through how to create a builder.io custom component from Figma. We'll walk through more examples. Stay tuned and good luck.